Welcome to Nindie Rundown, where we here at Nintendo Village give you the lowdown on which games we've been playing. So without further ado, let's dive right in.
Peasant Knight is a pixel art auto-running platformer that moves quickly but sadly never gets very far. The simple controls and lightning fast snapback to the starter levels after death make this a great little title to pick up and play when you have a few minutes to spare. There is a few simple mechanics that get slowly added, such as moving platforms and magic portals, and all these manage to mix up the action. However, fiddly controls hamper enjoyment by making some of the harder levels feel more like luck than skill. This, with a general lack of inspiring level design, mean that while it's briefly entertaining, Peasant Knight sadly cannot rise to the occasion.
Zeroptian Invasion is a classic arcade alien invasion eradicating shooter in the spirit of Space Invaders. Blasting through waves of enemies, the player is tasked with fending off shooting and dive-bombing alien forces while attempting to rack up the highest score. Levels are distinguished by distinct colors, each presenting increasing difficulty and tougher enemies, capping off with a boss fight at the end of each level. This game has every bit of a challenge the original Space Invaders brought back in the day, but the developer didn't stop at standing in the classic Invader's shadow, however, as Zeroptian Invasion leaps into the present with widely varied enemy waves, obstacles, and large bosses to take down. The ship itself, initially, moves slowly on its own and suffers from a slow firing rate. However, both are upgradable through randomized collectible power-ups. The game is very forgiving in its recovery from death, both in its single shot, shield upgrade, and its continue option allowing for sacrificing your score for restarting at the top of the level. I must admit that the ramp in difficulty surprised me. The enemy movements and actions paired with their increasing resilience makes for a difficult climb through the waves each level. If you are in for a challenge or itching for that classic alien-slaying arcade action, Zeroptian Invasion will hit the mark.
Anodyne is a top-down adventure that bears more than a passing resemblance to classic Zelda games. It even starts out with a sleeping protagonist, and is displayed in a square much like Link's Awakening would have been back on the Game Boy. Where it differs from Zelda, however, is the dark yet intriguing story that propels the game forward. The world exists within the dreams of Young, the hero you play as. You'll have to explore and investigate, chat to NPCs, defeat enemies, and yes, explore dungeons. The world is really intriguing, and the obstacles and boss fights you're presented with offer a real challenge. The story can be a bit obtuse, and it can be difficult to know where to go next at times. But if you're after that old school Zelda fix whilst we wait for the Link's Awakening remake, this is well worth checking out.
Stylish cel-shaded shooter Rico looks the part and controls like a dream, with fantastic use of motion controls throughout. While its tongue-in-cheek humour misses more than it hits, it's pretty commendable to try and put actual personality into a fairly generic shooter such as this. Missions are brief but satisfying, with the gunplay constantly feeling slick and rewarding, with plenty for you to do throughout different campaign missions, co-op and daily challenges. This could be too much of a good thing, however, as the lack of variety in enemies and mission types comes through in long play sessions. Still, Rico is a blast to play, you just may not be staying up all night to finish it.
Metagal is a blast from the past. Taking heavy influences from the Mega Man games of old, Metagal jumps right in with its platforming blasting fun. This single-player experience is every bit the robot-busting experience, but with a bot-tastic female lead. Metagal will have you running and gunning through 8 themed stages and boasts a unique rebirthing system that takes the edge off of the punishing genre these types of side-scrolling games tend to be. The story takes our hero Metagal through themed locales to battle her reprogrammed sisters stolen by the evil Creeper as she works her way to rescue her creator, Dr. Ray. Playing this game was every bit as enjoyable as a Mega Man game. Nothing was too hard or too unfair, even though I had to try many times to defeat the final boss. Fitting for a final fight. I was delighted by the game as Metagal kept delivering that classic run-and-gun platforming challenge. The developer included a post-game What If reward adding replayability that was such a treat to this platformer subgenre I had to keep playing even after the credits rolled. Seriously, this has been something I have always wanted to experience in a Mega Man-like game, but I won't spoil anything for you. Don't sleep on this wonderful robot platformer with just the right amount of charm.
That just about wraps it up for this episode of Nindie Rundown. Be sure to stay tuned to Nintendo Village for all your indie coverage, and we shall catch you next time.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, check out some of our other videos, and visit thenintendovillage.com, your home for everything Nintendo.